Where does collaboration fit into PBL? My name is Ryan. Welcome to PBL Simplified for Teachers, where we break down your PBL need-to-knows so that we can simplify your PBL classroom. Where does collaboration fit into PBL? Grouping, yes, but not just grouping. You can collaborate and not be in a formal group. If you do an affinity protocol, we'll put it right here. If you run that protocol, you have multiple students, could be all your whole class is putting up post-it notes, they're theming them together, they're processing, they're collaborating, but they're not in formal groups. You could run a tuning protocol where there's a triad and we're looking at one learner's work of art and we're giving feedback and then we switch. Not formal grouping, but we're collaborating. So you can collaborate and work on collaboration, teach collaboration without actually being in groups. With that being said, grouping is a key aspect that our industry partners are looking for. If you ask any industry partner, what do you want from our graduates? Somewhere in their top 3 is going to be the ability to work with others. So is it always easy? No. But some of our problems is the way that we've been setting up grouping, that we haven't been as intentional as we could. So the intentionality is super important. Otherwise, the 8th grade lunchroom would be a great place to learn about collaboration. And our 8th graders would walk out of the room and just filled with wonderful collaboration skills, which does not happen. It's kind of a scary place, actually. So how do we get our learners to collaborate? We need to teach them. So we need to go with the assumption that collaboration is not a natural state, not even for adults. Like we've been in meetings where we were not as productive as we could have been. We could have used some protocols, we could have used some processes, probably even some agreements and a group contract. If you want to see a separate video on group contracts, click right here. Grouping needs to be intentional, it needs to be taught. All collaboration does. So you might, when you roll out that group contract that you're going to look at in the other video, when you roll it out, you might fishbowl that. So you have the rest of your class sit around and then you're going to act out what it should be in a group. And maybe go ahead and act out what happens if there's conflict within a group. So collaboration is super important. It doesn't have to be within grouping. That's number 1, super important. It should be structured. That's number 2. And number 3, I would say that grouping doesn't have to happen all the time. You don't have to start day 1 of a PBL unit in groups. You could be working individually and then form groups later on. You could have groups of 1. We could work through a PBL unit by ourselves but collaborate throughout the project. So there's not a whole lot of have-tos. So don't tie yourself into groups right away if you don't know why. There should be a reason why people are in groups and everybody should have a specific role, and that will make groups less awful. When you do that, you will engage your learners, tackle boredom, and transform your classroom.